Today we're in Brandywine, Maryland to visit Shelby Watson Hampton and Susan Watson White. The two partnered together to build a new vineyard and winery to keep the farm in the family. Susan's father passed away unexpectedly in 2005, leaving Shirley and her daughters to take over the operation.
We worked so hard to get this far, and then he passed away so early.
It was a big shock. At that point, someone had to keep the business going because the farm is the foundation of our family.
Industry challenges forced the Watsons out of the nursery business. In 2011, Shirley deeded the farm to Susan, who knew she had to change things up, and Shelby wanted to help.
Aunt Susan and I sat down together and we were trying to come up with ideas about what we wanted to do. The important thing was to keep the farm in the family and to keep it productive and be able to pay for itself. And so we did a lot of research with University of Maryland Extension and the Maryland Farm Bureau and found out that the soil we have here that was so good for tobacco and pumpkins is also really good for grapes.
Susan, Shelby, and Shelby's husband Wade planted the vineyard in 2014, and the four pressed on, opening the new on-farm winery this past fall. The winery is a remodeled tobacco barn and comes with a unique history lesson. My tour of the Vineyards production facility and tasting room. So it's not quite growing season here in Maryland, but these vines need TLC all year round, and this four-person team works together to get the job done. Susan and Bob are full-time on the farm, but Shelby and Wade have day jobs. After work, she changes out of her heels and into the gear needed to care for their crops. Today, the team is pruning vines, an essential step in the grape growing process.
This is my husband, Wade. He also grew up on a family farm.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
he is our vineyard manager here. Okay. So he's going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing with the pruning and why we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see you're working your way down. Those are empty and...
Yeah,
and
so you see where we've done and
Yep.
where we have to do.
Yep.
And this is winter pruning. So every year we take the vines back to, in this case of spur pruning, the cordon, which is the piece you see here, and these are spurs coming off. Or in the case of cane pruning, which is somewhat what you see here, is just a whole new cane laid down.
Okay.
And that just depends on what the vine looks like. But we bring it back to this state every year, and then every year, and they start growing from these points right here, and that gets us a nice line of grapes right down. It's easy to harvest and easy to maintain throughout the growing season. It's actually very satisfying as you get through it and you see everything that gets done. So
Yeah.
it's a process as we go through the year. This is just the initial phase of it, and we basically are in here all year long, making sure they don't go wild.
But we also use bird netting to keep the birds from eating the fruit.
Okay.
And then we have deer fence on the perimeter, which you can't see from here, but has been a big help because the deer pressure is very strong in this area, as it is over most of Maryland.
Yep.
So we're pretty much in the vineyard, from March until November, when the harvesting and the processing and everything is done. Okay. And then we get a little bit of a break. Of course, we're in the winery and the tasting room and the weddings all the time.
You don't ever get a break, actually. While Wade prunes on, the rest of us visit the winery. Tours start at their self-made museum of Watson family history.
And so you'll see pictures, and this is my dad. You can see that we have tobacco hanging here. Here's a nice sample over here.
The area also features original parts of the tobacco barn, an educational stop for consumers.
So this is our stripping room area. This is where we used to bring the tobacco down and we would take the leaves off the stalk. So we would sit along here, everybody would have their seat, and you had to put it into grades. So what we decided to do is turn this into a barrel cellar. I mean, what else, right?
You got a wine cellar right here.
So we can do a little private tasting here if we want to. This is actually the original potbelly stove that was in here, and a friend of ours, Mickey, refurbished that for us.
Nice.
And back here, you're going to see some riddling racks. This is how you make sparkling wine, or champagne as you may know it.
It
but
is?
in Maryland or in the United States, we have to call it sparkling wine. If it's champagne, then it must come from the Champagne region of France.
Yeah.
So we haven't made sparkling wine yet, but we do plan on doing that.
From there, we enter the production facility to meet Susan's husband, Bob, and the 4,400 gallons of wine made last harvest season.
This is our little elevator.
Okay.
And we pick the grapes in the field. And everybody has a little what they call a lug.
Okay.
And they lug their grapes over to a bigger bin, half-ton bin. We dump them in.
Okay.
We bring it up here with our forklift and we dump them in. They go up to the elevator. We have people here sorting through them, making sure there's no rotten clusters.
Bad ones out.
Whatever's going on, it comes up and drops into this machine. This is a destemmer crusher.
Okay.
The whole cluster falls in there, and it's got little fingers in there that tumble around, and it knocks the berries off the stems, and the stems come out this end, and all the berries come down through crushing wheels like you see here. And if we're making white wine, the must at that point, we call it must, once it's cracked and all juicy and drops down into our pump. The pump will then pump it into the press over here by a hose, and then we will press the juice off the skins.
Bob wraps up, and I head to the tasting room for a glass of wine and the story behind its label.
So we're going to start off with our Legacy.
Ooh. So we're going to pour you a little taste of this today.
I'm excited.
And we're excited for you to try it, and we've poured ourselves a little taste. So
Oh,
we're going to
well,
do a
of course. You can't drink
cheers.
alone,
Right.
so-
Cheers to FarmHers.
Yes. Cheers to you, ladies. Ooh, yeah. Tropical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very tropical.
Pineapple,
Crispy,
Yeah.
pineapple, mango.
Worth a trip to Southern Maryland, for sure. Wine is worth the trip, but so is this wedding venue. A look at the other side of Susan and Shelby's budding business. Susan and Shelby love sharing agriculture with others, so much so that they invite couples to share their vows right here in the barn.
Welcome to Robin Hill. There you go.
Beautiful, ladies.
Thank you. So this is our wedding barn.
I love your chandelier.
Thank you. The chandelier, the bistro lights, the curtains on the doors there, and then we have some twinkle lights on the main beam are all a part of the barn. Therefore, like brides and grooms can come in. They can keep it very simple by putting down a tablecloth and a centerpiece, and voila, they've got the rustic look of the barn. Weddings became a part of the equation after Susan and Shelby's own Robin Hill Farm ceremonies. They realized the demand for a unique venue. Next, we find Pumpkin and Bubba, posted up near the entrance. These two are the stars of most wedding days.
They love people, but he loves to chew on things. So we've told brides, you know, when you come up to take a picture, be careful not to stand too close.
Chew on your dress.
And there have been a couple brides that have walked away, and he's got the bottom of the dress stuck in his mouth. But it makes for good pictures,
And when you're
too.
going to have a wedding at a farm,
Yeah.
you know, you got to roll with it, I think. Susan and Shelby know how to roll with it. Whether feeding the animals or scheduling weddings, business doesn't stop. And she answers her phone.
Yes, she's the farm phone. It's the cell, because we're never in the office, so the farm phone goes to her. Yeah.
Booking a wedding, eating duck snacks. Yeah.
You know what? I'm actually in the duck pen right now, but if you would text me your email address, I'll send you a price package.
This is like the best farmer multitasking I've ever seen.
That's great.
I just booked a wedding and I'm feeding ducks.
You know, underneath, we just love each other so much, and we all have a common goal. We want to see the farm succeed.
So when it comes down to getting the job done in the vineyard, the winery, anybody's home, anything that's going on, you know, the family just all throws in, and it's hard to find anymore, and I'm just so glad to be a part of that.
The teamwork really, you know, helps us accomplish our goals and do great things.
But what's great about the four of us is that everybody has a strong suit, and everyone's personality is a little bit different. So we're kind of like puzzle pieces. We fit really well, and it all ends up working out in the end.
You just can't imagine the love and everything that's within the family.
Susan and Shelby used that love to save the farm. Now it's thriving with a beautiful new winery and a wedding barn full of Southern Maryland charm. But the best feature is simple. There's no way to leave Robin Hill Farm and Vineyards without feeling like family.